Why, hello, this is Rogueblades, and I am coming to you on a lovely Monday afternoon with another Assassin gameplay commentary. This time we are at Open Beta Patch 2. Lots of change since the last time I did a commentary, and I think we'll go through some of that. As you can see, I'm playing Assassin. I've got my sexy new skin combination. And right off the bat, I'm going to go straight into the jungle. I noticed there was an enemy assassin on the other team, and I do not want him to get the jungle bot, but I also want to survive, because I've been having a problem lately where I'll get too risky in the jungle early game and die because of it, because now that the matchmaking system is in place, the players I'm playing with aren't completely terrible, and so they kind of know what they're doing. Unfortunately, however, the assassin does get the first jungle bot, but I predict his jump, grab again, then predict his leap. Something I've been doing a lot lately to other assassins, especially ones I know who aren't terrible. So that's always something you want to consider when you're playing a class who can do something like that, is reading the opponent's movements and gauging how you need to react to that. It all comes back to reading and broadcasting. I expected a jump, so I jumped with him. Unfortunately, I couldn't pick up the bot kill, so I am sort of lacking in experience. Most of the early game is me trying to deal with this assassin. Like right then, he got me critical, so I lunged off into a location that would have otherwise killed me, but there is that little corner that you can abuse and lunge out so that you won't ring yourself out, because if I hadn't lunged, he probably would have gotten close enough to grapple me. So it's just knowing how the map works, knowing how your class works. It'll save you a lot of hassle, especially when you're trying to not die. And with that jungle bot dispatched, I returned to the lanes to see what's going on, try to just spread some damage around. And this assassin comes back. This is a theme you'll notice through the game. He chases me a lot this game. I don't know if it's because he recognizes me or because of that kill on him earlier and he wants some revenge, but he does end up being responsible for both of my deaths this game. So whatever he was trying to do worked for killing me, but consider this. In the early game, it's all about bots. I mean, I like to go for kills because I feel like I'm capable of doing that, and if you can get a lot of kills, you can make up for the fact that you're wasting time not killing bots. But if you're not, you're going to be humongously underfed, and by mid to late game, you're going to be 3-4 levels below, like what you'll notice this assassin is. And I saw that gunner was low health from all the way across the map, so I bought a jump pad so that I could lunge jump to the other side of the map and pick up the kill. Thank God turrets still are a little iffy on the target acquisition, so they'll take a little while to figure out where you are and lock on. And if you're grappling, of course, they won't even lock on at all. But those were level 2 laser blazers. They'd made a change where all the front laser blazers on each map are level 2s, and that's really great because those things only tickle compared to level 3s and especially rocket turrets. So even low level you can turret dive with, you know, relative success, assuming you know what you're doing. And so I catch this Cheston out with low HP, and I decide I want to try to chase him back to his base, but unfortunately he does know how to rampage jump, and I lunge in to try to kill him, but that assassin comes right out, and so I don't even think about sticking around because I'm at half health, and I run. But the assassin, once again, decides to chase me, but I predicted where he would land and waited right for him and managed to grab him. Didn't get a kill, but, you know, I pushed him out. So I turned a disadvantaged situation into an equal one. He comes back again and tries to play with me once more, but once again I predict where he's going, leap over and wait for him to come to me. And then after that, I immediately catch this gunner at half health near his turret, and knowing that my leap will be back off cooldown by the time the grapple is over, I decide to go in for the kill and then leap out. So once again, just knowing where people are going to be and knowing your cooldowns really important for getting kills. This assassin tries to chase me again. Nothing too surprising there, but a gremlin does come out, and I'm able to chase him down with the gremlin as a shield because it's aggroed to him. So I end up picking up the kill on the gremlin, which is great, gives me some experience, and I grab the churro. So staying up there, definitely worth it. And this Megabeth tries to run out at half health, not the best idea, and I do kill her because of that. And now this right here starts the beginning of a bunch of bad decisions. I'm at critical health because of this assassin who's just itching to kill me. I juiced to gain some health, but I didn't let myself go fully charged before I ran back into the fight. I get very low and decide to, you know, it's time to leave, but the assassin has other plans for me and chases me down and kills me. So we can learn from this mistake. When I was at critical health before I juiced, I should have just ran away, cut my losses, but I was pretty confident in myself, especially versus that assassin for this entire game, so I didn't think there was much of a problem. And I'm going to die again soon because of the same error in judgment, thinking that I'm fine when I'm really not. I haven't checked everywhere, I haven't checked my surroundings, and I get killed for it. So the Annihilator does pop. We're at the first Annihilator fight, and you'll notice in this Annihilator fight, the other team has a much better footing than we do throughout pretty much the whole fight. They do end up getting it, but here's this chest-in. First mistake, he's over-leveled and at full health. Why would I engage there? That's just a bad idea. Second mistake, I didn't look around. I did not see that the enemy assassin was there. Perhaps the class that's almost best at closing gaps. I neglected to realize that she was right next to me, and so she even got a backstab because of it, so her positioning was fine, so I die again. But I do get a little bit of sweet revenge because she tries to chase down my friendly Megabeth, and I pick her off because of it. But the Annihilator is still going, and I could criticize myself for not going after the Annihilator much during the first fight. Perhaps if I'd gone for it, we would get it. But I was kind of frustrated with my team. You'll notice from the scoreboard, if you pause it when it's up, you know, there's a massive disparity in kills where I have most of my team's kills and the other team is just slaughtering my teammates, and they're just not getting up there for the Annihilator. Or at least they're not all coming up at the same time, and that's just obviously a bad idea. And we do finally make some headway in the Annihilator fight. We push them off the platform itself, though the team still has a strong presence on their side of the field. So I do something that commandos are encouraged to do during Annihilator fights in high-level play, which is run over there and just disrupt them. Just distract them by any means necessary. Don't let them get to the gravity lift. Just make sure that they're focused on you and not getting up to the Annihilator. So I do pick off the gunner doing that, and I keep them busy for a while, and I go up thinking, well, I should be fine to cap it, and it clearly was, and I almost died again. So I retreat, grab Regenadol, get back down the lane, and notice that this turret is critical, and even though the Annihilator is up, there are circumstances where maybe going after the Annihilator is not the best idea. I mean, clearly this team wants it more than my team does, and if a turret is that low, you can't miss a golden opportunity like that, because if you're fighting for the Annihilator, you know, and the shields go back up and you lose the Annihilator, well then you've gained absolutely nothing from all of that. So at least now I can say that our team has done something. We got a turret down in the time that they were getting the Annihilator, so it was not a completely negative exchange for us. And realizing the Annihilator's about to go off, I do, you know, the thing that makes the most sense, was just park in front of a Regenadol station and use it, and that's just obviously just good game sense. If you're pretty sure the Annihilator is going to go off, you need to find a way to get your health back as fast as possible so you can get back to the fight, or at least not die. And I dove back in to try to save my turret from that gunner and that chest-in, and almost died because of it, so I go back up to buy another Regenadol, and that assassin, as you saw, was waiting right there for me, so obviously it would have been a horrible idea to plant myself and try to grab that Regenadol, so I just cut my losses and ran. And now here's another excellent example of knowing the mechanics of your class. That assassin could have certainly escaped me if she had waited a split second and lunged off the ledge instead of dropping and then lunging, because realizing that, I waited at the ledge and lunged to get the lunge jump that I've talked about before, and so what that meant was we ended up in the exact same spot. So that's just something you always want to consider. Maybe just moving frantically is not the best idea. And the assassin is back and decides to grapple me with a backstab, so I juiced to break the grapple because, as you saw, there was at least 3 or 4 enemy pros right around me. And there was a high probability that even though I juiced, I was going to get re-grabbed because everyone wanted to grab. So that was a little bit lucky on my part, but that was still the best option at the time, because if I had just let that grapple play out, I would have almost certainly been grappled again, and if not, I would have at least taken the second part of that backstab damage, which also might have killed me. So I get my health back, go back into the fight, notice that there are scramblers, and decide to stick around because, I mean, I can't be grabbed, and no one can use their skills, and if you just stick around scramblers protecting them and damaging pros at the same time, you'll probably pick up a kill or 2, or at least push the enemy team back, because as I've mentioned in previous videos, scramblers are very scary, especially when paired with commandos. And so I then decided to commit to that dive onto Megabeth because the level 2 Laser Blazer was currently being engaged by my bots, so I knew that that was distracted and I wouldn't have to worry about that. And I also knew that that level 3 that was shielded was too far away to target me, so I was in this nice little dead zone where I could move around but not be hit by the turrets. Although the assassin did grab, but since those turrets were otherwise distracted or busy, I stuck around to get the kill on Beth and leaped out when I thought it was finally good to do so. And then I go into a turret killing mode where I decide both the level 3 Laser Blazers should probably go. I don't think I get the second one down on this attempt right here just because I get distracted by a lot of other things. This Beth comes around, and then I think there's a jungle bot that even tries to come and get me. Oh yeah, there it is. And then I notice in a second that the assassin is really low, so once again I do the same trick where I wait for her to get to a certain spot, then lunge off the top level, extending my lunge. But this time I do this thing called grinding, which is if you use a surface you can't stand on and lunge over it, you will slide even further than if you just lunge off the second level. So I grinded on that little thin wall up there and got a little bit further and got right in her face to get the kill without even having to grab. And then I backdoor that other turret, come right around, and flank the low health assault, picking up that kill as well. So field positioning and you know, knowing exactly where you're going to end up after every move you do, so important, especially for the commandos, because precision is key. If you're precise, it's definitely going to pay out in kills and positioning, so just always be mindful of that. And after all that's said and done, I see this bouncer, which I do decide to go for because I recently realized just how much experience they're worth. If you look down at the bottom of my screen when I kill it, you can see just how much it's worth at level 10. And I want those juice boxes too. So when I lunge in aggressively by swinging my sword, even though I know I'm miles away from my target. Because if I'm swinging, he'll think that I will be swinging at him, and he might not try to close the gap. But then he does something very foolish, which is drops down a level and gets pretty much in my face, which is something you never want to do against a commando. And that bouncer that I summoned was actually busy with the Beth, and so when I round the corner, I managed to use my own bouncer long after I've summoned it to pick up a kill that I was not expecting at all. So just being prepared for anything, another good idea. I see this gunner low health, I decide to dive. I picked up Cloak 2 right beforehand, thinking I could just get, you know, one more tick of regeneration, which might keep me alive if turrets decided to fire at me. But I didn't have that issue. The assault tried to go and distract my team when we're trying to cap the second annihilator, but we dispatched him very quickly. And now this is just an absolutely beautiful setup for the annihilator. The gunner's in front, just raining bullets. The combat kitties and the combat girl are out in full force, and I'm there prepared to cap. So it's just one thing where maybe getting the first annihilator is not what matters. It's not always about getting every annihilator. It's about getting the one that matters, the one that tips the balance. And since we had pretty strong map control, that annihilator was probably going to go uncontested no matter what. And I was a capper with juice, which meant that there was no way in hell they were going to kill me on the annihilator pad, especially with all those teammates there. But they did summon a jackbot right after the annihilator goes off, which is a good idea. I'm not going to discourage anyone from doing that, especially in pubs. Jackbots can be very powerful in disorganized pubs. But I did have my juice, so I decided that that's how I was going to spend it, because I didn't want to lose the momentum we had just gotten for ourselves. I didn't want to lose the map control that the jackbot would have certainly taken away from us. So using the juice on a jackbot, never a bad idea. And so I quickly pick up this assault who's underleveled and alone in the jungle. Never a good idea, especially if there's a fed assassin. And I bypass the Chestin who comes up to kill me so that I can dive down onto that Beth. And there's no way the Chestin can catch up with me before I kill him, so I was pretty safe in my decision to go and do that. And I noticed that the one level 3 rocket turret's very low, so I decided to stick around and kill it. You don't want to die for it. It's not worth it to die for it. But it is worth it to stick around and take some damage so that you can drop one. Because if you're the only one attacking turrets, as I often am, you don't want to die, because if you die, that could kill the amount of time that you need to drop it, and its shields could come back up. And then you're waiting for bots again, and if the other team's on top of their game, they're not going to let bots get close until you have this humongous push. So, always want to be mindful of turret health and shields. And I was down there in the lane picking off bots, but I was thinking to myself, there's only 1 or 2 people that I can see. Where's the other 3 enemy pros? And I make a really good judgment call by thinking that they're probably right above me ready to flank. And when I go back up, you know, to no surprise, they were all right there ready to drop. And if that assassin had grabbed me, it could have been completely over for me because of just how many people there were. But I go back in to try to pick off this Cheston, and as I'm killing him, the gunner just happens to fall into my lap with like a sliver of health left, so I kill him as well. The assassin does get the backstab. This assassin has been playing fairly well. I'd say that the enemy assassin was mid-level, not the best, but certainly not the worst. Understands his positioning, knows how to get backstabs out of grapples, all important things. Just working on the finer points for him would serve him very well. Perhaps he's kind of newer to this, and after a little bit of experience, you know, he could be very good, because I was noticing some great things with him. So if he's watching, Jaded Blade, you've done a pretty good job, especially for your team situation, so good for you. But anyway, we dropped one of their turrets, we're pushing hard into their base, and I'm picking off anyone who gets low and doesn't retreat, so this is looking good for us. The ball does drop, and now I do the thing that assassins should be doing, which is the same thing assaults end up doing in this game, which is just touching the ball pretty much. You just want to give it a little bit of a tickle every 20 seconds just to make sure that it doesn't go back up. And your job isn't to drop the ball. Your job isn't to kill the money ball. Your job is just to keep it down and get as many jackpots to the enemy base as possible. So as long as you're touching it, you're doing permanent damage in the long run, because for every, 30, 40 seconds that it's down, there's another jackpot that's going to be right there. And a jackpot gives you a free lane push. No bots are going to get past a jackpot, and they're so hard to kill by just a single pro unless that pro is juicing. So just remember things like that. And we are about to wrap up this video. Man, it's been fast. I haven't even talked about some of the things I wanted to, but maybe we'll save those for another day. Hope you guys, got something out of this video like I do every video. And I'm going to try to put out more commentaries now. School's going to be done soon. I know I keep saying I'm going to put out more, but, then something in real life happens and I just got to take care of that. But hopefully with school done and I'll just be, working over the summer, killing time, I'll be able to really get some good content out for you guys and up the quality of my content too. So hopefully we'll get all that stuff sorted out in the future. But the game is over. I went 28-2, leading my team, and I hope you all enjoyed my video. And until next time, stay sneaky. This has been Rogueblades.